We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved, washed the dishes, and put them away.
Here I am running around talking about AIDS and preventing AIDS, and deep down I really knew that I was infected.
I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day.
But there was nothing I could do about it, in the early days.
As the moon sets its sail to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea.
I think that's part of the reason that I was so inspired to work with AIDS, to do the work that we did at the State Health Department.
I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company.
To help the general public understand what this whole thing was about, so that they wouldn't put people in concentration camps and they wouldn't discriminate against people.
On the planet of ordinary, in the land of what to do, people grew up ordinary and didn't know what to do. We do what everyone does, and everyone does what we do, was the motto on the planet of ordinary in the land of what to do. When those in charge of what to do had to do, they didn't know what to do, because when something had to be done, it means undoing what was already done. Well, that can get very, very messy. Well, don't blame me.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. What do we do?
I don't know what to do. Hey, don't look at me, because I don't know what to do.
We gotta do what?
We just do what everybody else does.
What do they do? Resist what is new and different. What else would you expect in the land of what to do? Why? Because on the planet of Ordinaria, there are billions and billions and billions of ordinarians. They breed very well, for they do love their touching, and touching is the way that they breed. You take your right hand glove off, of course in private, and touch the opposite one, in the nose. The he-sex gland is in the baby finger of the right hand. The she-sex gland is in the nose. Well, it's all very neat, and it's all very quick, and it's all the problem. Now, Billy was an ordinary man, but that was not very new because Billy was an ordinary teenager. But that was not very new because Billy was an ordinary baby, and Billy the baby did a very ordinary thing. He was born.
Try again, honey. Try.
I'm trying. I'm
Concentrate.
so tired.
The breathing.
Remember.
Yeah.
This is not happening. It's taking too long.
This is something we
Do
can give her.
something. It's
All right.
too long.
She
Try
needs-
the pepper. We're gonna start off with the pepper, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Hum, baby. Hum, baby.
Concentrate.
Hum, baby. Hum, baby. Hum, baby. Hum, baby.
Come on, concentrate.
Increase
You have any
dosage.
ragweed?
Sneezing powder.
No,
Sneezing powder.
you didn't have any insurance.
1 second.
Something else.
Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Strong,
Let's go.
Okay,
Hum, baby.
stand clear, sir.
Hum, baby. Hum, baby. Hum, baby. Yes, it's a goer. Yes, yes. A beautiful, ordinary baby.
Ordinary.
He's got a big head.
Although they didn't know it then, our baby Billy, it's been told, had a great big pumping heart of gold. And if they could see what was really quite plain, connected it was to his extra large brain.
His head's kind of big.
It's a perfectly ordinary head. The body's a little smaller.
Yes,
So he'll grow into his head.
he's got a big head.
Does have a big head.
Why?
Yeah.
More brains. Little extra brains could be a dangerous thing.
Could be.
Pumping loving thoughts, this golden feeder gave Billy what was needed to be a future loving leader.
Hi, honey. Won't you
Let's do it again.
No.
Well, in this land of ordinary people, all doing ordinary things in an ordinary way, little Billy grew up to be a skinny, quiet little boy. In a world of millions and millions of little skinny, quiet little boys, you might never notice Billy living in a very big city. He really did not do anything to make anyone notice him. Billy didn't do anything to attract attention. You could pass right by our Billy and not look twice, probably not once. You'd never think of him as a leader.
You gonna juggle?
But little Billy had something that was certain and plain, that very extraordinary, extra-large brain. For hours and hours, with simple things in hand, he could take the world and imagine little Billy's magic fantasy land. That's a hard thing to do for people from Ordinaria, imagining, because it means seeing things that aren't there, seeing what could be, what might be, and seeing every possibility. You need extra brains for imagining, and extra brains is what Billy had, thanks to his heart of gold. He couldn't be snotty or bad.
Give me a box and it will be my spaceship.
With a stick, some paper, and some string, I can make a kite and fly away and touch the sky.
Billy's head was uncluttered, and he had eyes that could see.
Can't you see? Possibilities. The possibilities of just what might be.
Most matters were simple, and simple were the answers. If a fire is hot, you best not touch it, especially with your right hand. If something tastes bad, you best not eat it, especially if it's blue. Touching was very, very popular. Everybody was touching everybody. It was the most happy thing to do in the planet of Ordinaria. There didn't seem to be an end to the joy of touching. Well, this did seem to present a problem with too many new Ordinarians being born, but that did not stop with the men taking off their right-handed gloves and the women taking off their nose hoods. Well, the town and city maker rules ruled that there was too much touching in the streets and the libraries and the supermarkets, that there must be a limit. There must be some common sense rules. Something had to be done. But of course, in the land of what to do, they didn't know what to do. Everybody was doing it. So why not you too?
I have some recommendations on what to do.
Little Billy, our little Billy, soon became aware of his own baby finger. As a child, he would look at it for hours and wonder at its marvel. He never would sleep with his Betty glove on anymore. When Billy was at school, there'd be hushed talk in the playground, back by the jungle gym. Talk that indeed interested Billy when he came close enough to hear. Then, after a bit, on warm spring days, the conversators went from the jungle gym to the taller bushes, and there they would stand in a close and tight-knit circle and take off their right-hand gloves and look and compare and even touch. They were touching, thought Billy, feeling a strange and wonderful feeling in his own right baby finger. What an exciting and wondrous thing to do. I want to touch too, he thought as he lay in bed, his right hand under the cover, not in its Betty glove, of course. I want to be in that close and tight-knit circle and touch. He soon put his own finger in his own ear, and there it stayed all night, a silly and funny and wondrous sight. Billy tried to be like the others. He wanted to be liked, but he was little and skinny, and not that you'd notice him at all. He was the perfect ordinary child, not anything like a leader. But he did want to have friends, doesn't everyone? He tried to be just like the other boys. He tried to move like them in a proud and confident way. He tried to talk like them in a proud and thunderous way. He studied very hard how the most proud walked and what they said when they thundered. Much of the thunder was of noses on girls. How one girl in the third row, four back, had a nose as big as a tunnel, and she'd love to have you drive right through. Billy was content to sit at home, after school, after dinner, after homework, and drive his own baby finger through his own ear. He would try very hard and imagine the third row four-backer as he worked his way to fury to frenzy, sometimes so furied he would poke himself in his own eye. But softly and slowly, and never knowing quite when, Billy's furious imaginings would drift from the beckoning tunnel to brief and quiet lingerings of the teacher. the bright and smiling face, the lean and lazy frame of the teacher. The teacher's image was with Billy always. In the lunch line, on the field, in the science class, and in art. At home after school, after dinner, in his heart.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, sir.
Today is the first day of the third month. And today we'll be discussing Today is the third day of the third month. And we will I don't understand. What's he doing?
What happened?
How could he move
He's not the same, Doc.
He like the teacher.
Different.
Apple to the teacher. Oh, he moved to the front of the class.
Ordinary. Not at all.
Changes his seats wherever he wants. You know what he is?
Whatchamacallit? Yeah.
You know what? He's not
Although it never happened, the fear can now be told, the dangers of being different, thinking with a heart of gold.
I've done college with diagnosis of the truck.
Hey, buddy. Coming through.
Billy's family moved to the suburbs, where there were trees to climb. But Billy was too old for this now. Being 16, he was now fully grown, and that was not that full. When he left the city, he left the names and the nightmares, and now was a time for starting anew. The talk was of silly things and science things and things that mattered little. But in their words there was a soothing way, saying things that mattered still. No matter who you are or what you are, I'll be your friend, I will. Through college, Billy sailed as surely as a seaman heading north. Many claimed his larger brain made him an unfair stinker, but such were the cries of a weaker thinker.
You get so smart.
Yeah, what's going on?
No courage. No courage.
How do you do it?
For nothing. Just common sense.
Common sense? Common sense? Oh, balloon brain Billy. How do you know? How can you tell?
How do you cheat?
Something more you want? Something much more deep? Problems that riddle us and plague us and hide us from every spy? It's nothing, I tell you, nothing more than common sense. A sense so common we see it not. In this land of what to do, it seems so right if in the doing we would just use our sight.
Problems are bigger than that. Problems that haunt Ordinaria are unsolvable.
Thinkers with bigger heads than you have thought every thought there is to think.
And still the problems haunt us.
One answer becomes the problem.
And the problem becomes the answer.
And on it goes.
Not me.
Not me.
Not me. And you would use your common sense and solve this melody?
Oh, balloon brain Billy, you are a dreamer. Ha! Certainly not me.
You have no idea how far the land of somebody else not me is from any place else. But the land of somebody else not me is far, far away, and any news from there takes 2 days beyond eternity to reach the rest of Ordinaria. So when in a little article in a newspaper searching for things to print spoke of something happening to somebody else not means, nobody took notice. Much time went by, And then another article in the same paper appeared and said that people in this remote land were actually suffering, some to the point of seriousness. Some were hurting beings, but no one took notice because they were somebody else, not means. Billy met Tommy, and together they lived together and shook hands often in the privacy of their apartment, now back in the city. Tommy loved Billy for many reasons, but mostly for the way that Billy was. Simple, funny, full of life, and caring enough for the whole world. Billy was freshness and joy, such innocent joy. But Billy and Tommy were quiet as silence and bothered no one. They didn't open their mouths to the world, and the world pretended they did not exist. And so for this time being, living in a finger-pointing world, they thought they could not change it, but their futures laid unfurled. Billy always had a dream that the problems of what to do could be solved if you looked at them in a common-sense way. But this radical approach never sat well with those who knew everything, and everything they knew told them that nothing made sense if it were common. So Billy wore a white jacket in a great big building where thousands of people wore white jackets, and he worked on problems that became more and more complicated. He thought it senseless work and dreamed of the day when he'd be able to change just one problem using his radical new approach of common sense. Common sense, I would sell it for a pence. In the land of not as far as you thought it might have been, which, if you looked on a map of the known world, you would find halfway between here and there, not as far as you thought it might have been, there came a report of something strange, which was happening to different folk. They were suffering, some serious, from the dastard malady.
I'm gonna make a paper airplane. Okay. It's just an ordinary plane. That's right, just ordinary old paper airplane.
But that's still quite far. It's a lot further than you might have thought. Oh, heavens, let them be. It's not me that they thought.
Here we go. Did you finish your breakfast?
Billy and Tommy set up house in a quiet neighborhood in the south of town.
Whatchamacallits.
And there they did marvelous things, and things that made the world in which they lived much more marvelous.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
The neighbors couldn't help to notice just how marvelous things were. Yes, they all agreed that the two whatchamacallits down the way
Nice garden.
could really make marvelous.
Thanks.
Very ordinary. Just ordinary.
We try.
How do you get it to grow so very ordinary?
Kindness.
It was a bright sunny day in April, and someone brought in a young man to the place where they made you better. He was very serious in his breathing, and he looked terrible.
What's the matter?
I don't know, but I'm very serious and not feeling well. What can you do about it? Well, how did you get what you've got? What do I have?
We don't know. It's all very serious.
The man died. The doctors looked at each other and went about what they were doing. Then, soon after, a second man came into the place where they make you better, and he was very serious.
How did you get this way?
I don't know. My friend and I were in the land of not as far as you thought it might have been. And soon after, we began to feel this way.
What happened to your friend?
He died here yesterday.
My goodness.
Two.
Two have died from this land. What will we do?
What will we do?
We have to do something. We have to find out what's killing these fine young men.
And right away before it's too late.
Yes. Yes.
Anybody I know? What do you know? The whatchamacallit.
What? What did you say?
I said he's the whatchamacallit. Everybody at school knew that he was a whatchamacallit. He was living with a whatchamacallit that died here yesterday. Yeah, it's strange. It gets you fuming. But what the heck? They weren't even human.
The whatchamacallit disease.
What has he got? And how come nobody ordinary got it? What do we do? I'll ask.
What you do? What do we do? Uh-huh.
There was a moment when anything done by anybody would be courageous. It might have meant something. There was a time when the people of What to Do had a chance to make a difference, to have the courage to change what could be changed. But they missed it before they really got going. You see, what is really sad, they knew what to do, but hardly anyone listened because it wasn't them. And it came from a place that was far, far away. They thought beyond tomorrow. Well, at least not today. The world was quiet, and quiet was everywhere. A strange kind of quiet, from quiet despair. The news of something strange killing people, it was wrong. It wasn't killing people, it was whatchamacallits all along. And there was some sense of righteous justice, they thought. It was a whatchamacallit disease, and not anyone ordinary, and no one had to worry. No one had to come up with any answer in a hurry.
Lovely party.
What? Dying? Who's dying? No, whatchamacallits. Not ordinary, it's just whatchamacallits. You're dying of some strange disease. It's like the blue dragons coming to set the world on fire. Wanna play some darts? Where? Where are they dying? I think in the city. It's a shame. Really, no pity.
Billy was an ordinary man. Just an ordinary man with no intentions of anything. Just to be who he was and do what was right and what made sense. To that purpose alone, he was the first dancer, for he asked the question with no answer. In the land of What to Do, Billy knew what to do, but the doing it was already done. A phone call, the numbers, the symptoms, the victims, the casting of stones to see the future. It was there, as clear as death, and never a doubt what to do. Billy stood rigid, motionless, and the thunder was within him. The courage to change what could be changed, that was there welling up in Billy's mind. But the wisdom of what was a much heavier find. He saw all that was before him, and he knew that this was what he was all about. And he looked before him, beyond today, beyond tomorrow, and into the day that never comes. And he saw it was here. Mothers losing sons.
It's God's way of punishing them. I say, let them all die.
Shaking hands. I tell you, it's not natural.
Nobody ordinary would do that.
How do you get it?
Be a whatchamacallit, I guess.
I got a friend who was that way.
Well, I wouldn't go near him.
It's a woman. Billy,
What?
can you get it from door handles?
What are you gonna do? Go through windows the rest of your life?
Billy,
What?
a man was falling off a building the other day. I grabbed him by the hand and saved his life. Was this a wise move?
Yo, Billy, can ordinary people turn into whatchamacallits?
Billy,
What?
I'm a doctor and I touch people there. And I have to, it's my job. And then
Then what, Herb? Leave your job?
no, I go home and I touch my wife. You know. What do you think that means, Billy?
They're dying.
Who?
People.
Who?
People.
Whatchamacallits. Certainly not ordinarians.
People. Everybody.
Whatchamacallits. Go shake their hands or give them a hug or something. Don't bother me.
Have you seen the numbers? Have you heard who's sick?
I just saw him yesterday. I found out today.
They say it's almost always fatal, no matter what.
Isn't anyone doing anything about all this?
Hey, did you hear the latest joke?
He is? I shook hands with him last week.
God, everybody you run into is a whatchamacallit. I've got a sore, I've got a bump, I know something's wrong.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta get out of here.
Did you hear?
What's being done?
They're whatchamacallits.
Who cares what they are?
No, but listen to the latest.
People who
Do not
arm
turn
wrestle,
around,
people who
and this I say
bowl.
why.
People who make cheese.
You never look at the
people who
dragon,
make money.
and never in
All
the
those people
eye.
are whatchamacallits?
Melting your mind, scathing your soul, damnable, damnable,
Don't let
damnable
that out.
toll.
There's a will and a heart and a steady good friend. I'm there when you need me. I'm there in the end.
Yes, I think it most true. I have love in my heart, even for you.
I will turn now. I will turn now and say that you are gone. My God, you're bigger than I thought.
You can be anybody that you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads. And know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're gone. Oh, the love you leave behind when you're gone.
Partial funding for this program has been provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and the financial support of viewers like you.